What is going on, folks? I am Goat. It is January 25th. It is my fucking birthday, and I'm going to shoot whatever the fuck video I want to. And yet again, another year has passed. And for me, the last, I think, 3 years now, every time my birthday comes around, like the first couple of years of my channel, the first year and a half of my channel, it was basically just a bunch of playthroughs, just like you would watch on Twitch or anything else. And I don't really like doing live stuff. I'd prefer to just record and then play on my own time. And I never really wanted to get into the whole tutorial life thing. But that's just kind of, I tinker around so much, and I do some obvious things. I do some less than obvious things. I use some more meta frames, but I might use them in a different way. I use some very off the fucking beaten path type of frames. And as you can see, I've got 11 frames here that are highlighted as favorites, specifically because there are people that find problems with playing these frames in specific ways. So we're going to look at these frames, and I'm going to do a 5-minute survival with them. We're just going to go, to Ani in the void and just go fight these enemies for, 5 minutes. And the whole point behind this is that, honestly, the one frame that I'm actually not going to do that with, because it's just going to feel like the most drug out fucking thing you're ever going to watch in your life, will be Limbo. Limbo, for me, is a much more goal-oriented frame, and I'll explain when we get to Limbo's build. But I have seen so many people talk about either energy economy problems, or they just can't figure out how to make this fucking frame work. I mean, you fucking name it, man. There is just so many things, why can't I survive with Volt is one I've seen actually quite a bit, which is funny because there's a hilarious way to get around it. But we're going to go with these 11 frames for my 45th birthday. And yeah, we're just going to go over the builds, why they're built this way. And a couple of them are going to have potentially 2 builds. Well, one specifically, Loki, is going to have 2 builds. There's going to be just this pure invisibility. Nobody fucking hears you for shit. And there's going to be just a pure invisibility build. Just saying. So, yeah. But funny, quirky ways to make a frame work that you may not think of. And I have, if you see a frame that says RW next to it, okay, those are frames that I still want to see a rework on. Okay, so there are 3 of these motherfuckers. So we're going to go with the obvious, Lavos. Now, I have talked about Lavos, and people misunderstand. Forgive the torrid being on here. We'll put something else on here for the playthrough. Fuck it. We'll just put a shotgun on there. Why not? It's a good time. So anyway. So Lavos is one of those.
Navigation has been updated with new invasions.
Be quiet, Lotus.
Chaos is spreading.
You'll hear 2 specific things about Lavos time and time again. Oh, he's great. He's the best railjack pilot in the game, next to Hildren. But he's the best railjack pilot in the game, and he's too clunky to play. I can tell you right now, you want to see the clunkiest fucking play of anything in a frame, go play Sevagas Shadow. We'll have a discussion after that, because that is the clunkiest piece of shit that you will come across in this game. Lavos requires pressing buttons. I don't know what to tell you, man. You have to do that casting abilities anyway. You just have to press a couple more. It's really, Lavos is no more clunky than Dante. But because Dante does a bunch of output damage that can actually just murder motherfuckers with the swipe of his hands, in comparison to being a primer frame, very, very different argument to be had. But Dante's type of ability casting is literally the same as casting with Lavos. So I don't want to hear the clunky argument anymore, because people rave about how good Dante is, and for good reason. But Lavos does the same type of ability casting, and here we are. Lavos Prime is soon to most likely be dropping, and people are still saying a railjack pilot too clunky, just kind of a meh frame. I will admit, Lavos, in my opinion, is probably like a C-tier frame. It's just an overall really good utility frame, can be very powerful, but a great, absolutely great status primer frame. Any health and armor tanks to boot. So, the shards are, I mean, this is pretty simple. Armor, and then casting speed. That's all this is. Okay? The build, it's a little extensive, okay, as far as cost. Okay, so you have to understand, first of all, he is a health and armor-based frame. So his shields are going to be broken constantly. So if there's an arcane out there for, when your shields break, That's the thing, if it's of something of use. So the way this build works out, obviously it's an Umbral build. That one's the easy one. Efficiency is literally just the amount of time that is reduced whenever you use his 3 on enemies to reduce the cooldowns. So like if you were to take Blind Rage off, you would get the normal efficiency, right? This doesn't matter because especially when you're on the Steel Path, the cooldowns are the cooldowns. The only one that is really painful to deal with is the 4th ability, and as long as you throw his 3rd ability into a crowd of enemies, it's really not that painful. So the aura mod is kind of whatever the hell you want to use. Personally, I use Physique. It's quite simply because guess what? 20% more health on a health and armor tanking frame doesn't, at least with this build. There is other builds. There's like the Valence, what is that? Valence Formation, I think it is. Yeah, Valence Formation. Yeah, there's other ways to play Lavos. Okay, oh my fucking god. There's other ways to play Lavos, but this is just a pure, I don't want to fucking die today kind of build, okay? And there's specifics as to why the things are that they are. First of all, he doesn't use energy, so there's nothing in here requiring the use of subsuming for like nourish for energy regen or damage output or anything else of that sort. Secondly, Arcane Blessing is on here because, well, 1200 health on top of 2220 health, 3420 health on a health and armor tanking frame is pretty fucking good. And if you go and point at his armor, when you're at 2565 armor, you are an 89.5 damage reduction. That is literally 0.5% away from being as good as Nezha's Warding Halo. Does it function the same as armor? Yes. Does it damage enemies when it gets near you? No. Is it an ability that has a damage multiplier that can increase that amount? No. But it is a static amount of armor. That's pretty fucking good. The negatives are like if you get hit with a toxin proc, yeah, your health's going to take a direct hit because most of the time your shields are broken. So a few things to look for. First of all, duration. Okay? It sounds crazy, but it says it right there, status duration. Your base status duration in the game, if I remember correctly, is 6 seconds, so we're talking about 152% status duration. So you're adding basically 3 more seconds to status duration, and considering everything Lavos does is based on status procs, that's a really, really, really good thing. So his passive is a couple of things. Energy and universal orbs give Lavos status immunity. That's a huge survivability factor, because once you get to killing enemies, there's, health and energy orbs laying around, fucking around all over the place, or universal orbs because of his 3rd ability, because it transmutes energy into universal. Transmutes everything into something universal. But then, if you hold 2 elements, you can basically make a combination element. That's all this is saying. So his first ability, Ophidian Bite. This is basically you whip 2 snakes at people, you heal people, you hit them with toxin damage. And it's always going to be a base toxin. Every single one of his abilities is a base elemental damage. When you apply a combo, if it requires toxin, it's still going to apply toxin and the combo. So his second ability is cold, Vile Rush. It's going to apply cold plus whatever combo element you apply. His third ability, Transmutation Probe. It's going to apply electric, and then whatever your combo, and then of course the final one, Catalyze. It's going to apply heat and whatever you apply to it. So you're going to double proc everything that you throw this shit at. I'm telling you, he's a very interesting frame. You want some range. Stretch is more than enough. Hell, I mean, I tested for a while with just using Augur Reach. It works, okay? But I found that 145% ability range actually is a pretty good range to deal with both Catalyze and Transmutation Probe. That way you can hit enough enemies to lighten the hit of, the 30-second cooldown on Catalyze. Adaptation is obvious, Arcane Grace is obvious, and I can tell you right now, Arcane Grace isn't necessary. Arcane Blessing is a big helper, also not necessary. You can literally put, hell, anything on here. I mean, you can put Molt Augmented, Growing Power. Fuck, what else can we put on here? I mean, hell, you can run Arcane... Well, see, actually, that's a funny one. On shield damage, 6% to instantly restore all shields. I mean, that's actually a useful one, considering his shields break all the fucking time. Arcane Eruption, funny enough, because you're picking up, you know, energy, which universal orbs count as energy, so you can literally constantly knock enemies down. It's a pretty funny one. If you want to stop the toxin damage that can actually hit you, I can't remember the name of that bitch. It's got an arcane resistance, so you can just stop toxin damage from even affecting you, which is a good time. I mean, the sky's kind of the limit with what you want to put on him. I'm just saying. I mean, if you want to go for more damage output, you are going to take damage. You can apply more critical chance. It's completely possible. You don't need to use Blessing, nor do you need to use Grace. But Grace does give you high survivability because of the amount of damage reduction. Only some of the damage is going to get through and actually fuck him up. And Grace constantly triggers because he's constantly taking damage because his shields are almost always down. So the weapons are whatever the fuck you want to put on here. Like here, we'll do the Serrata, okay? Here, let's do something less than. Okay? Let's do something less than, right? Verma Splicer, French Tickler. Hell yeah, giggity giggity. I mean, most of this shit's built up pretty stout. Fuck it, the tenant point. Well, no, let's not do a tenant weapon. Let's the Catabolist, right? Let's use the Catabolist. So we're using dojo weapon. Let's finish that off with another dojo weapon, right? Bubonico. Yeah, that's kind of a little extra too, isn't it? I mean, some of these weapons I'm just not going to change out. Nadaruk. Anybody who's done the New War has a fucking Nadaruk, okay? So we have a quest weapon, and we have a dojo weapon, and we have a dojo weapon. On a frame that everybody considers to be a mid-frame. Okay? So, health tank, armor tank, shields are going to break all the goddamn time. The school is literally whatever the hell you want to use. It really doesn't matter. Use the school for the purposes of survivability or damage output. That's all I'm going to tell you. And the funny part is just don't worry about doing... Sorry, I just lost my train of thought there. Don't focus so much on your you know, focus schools for or subsume. Sorry, that's what I was gonna say. Don't worry about subsuming a damn thing. Okay. His kit is one of the most complete kits on the basis that everything works well together. I don't know why I just did that. So when you start into a mission, it tells you what the damages are. Well, these guys don't. Hold on, I fucked that up. I did that. Okay, so these guys don't like viral damage, right? Corrupted do not like viral, so here, fuck them, and then we'll just throw some electricity at them, but watch that cooldown. Look at that, for every enemy hit, it just goes fuck off. I don't typically like running bows with Lavos because of his arm greaves, but here we are. They kind of get in the way whenever you're not ADS. Here, like, planks here, fuck off. Not that, I'm fucking running the Catabolist. Yeah, see, people shit on the Catabolist. Catabolist is a really good fucking weapon. Hi, guys. He's just sitting there eating bullets, oh man. People don't like the Catabolist because of its reload mechanic, but its reload mechanic is actually what makes it partially really fucking good. Aside from the fact that it's just a pure status hose. Look at this, I'm just fucking eating bullets, man. These shields down, sitting there taking health damage. I can viral proc them again here. See, they don't like me, but see, they're getting hit with heat and viral. Dude, like, I've got a fucking Eximus trying to lifesteal me right now. If this doesn't quantify as just ridiculous survivability, just from health and armor tanking, I really don't know what the hell does. Now, that being said, I very solely say that, you know, Lavos is definitely a solid C-tier frame. Because he is. There are better frames, not just with survivability, but just damage output, function, so on and so forth. Look, let's do this, throw this motherfucker at him. Whoever survived, we're going to do that. And then let's find some buddies. So he's like, these guys are all alive, so we throw the transmutation probe. See, now we have universal ammo laying around. And the best part is that I'm slowly picking up health orbs using Arcane Blessing, but how'd that feel? Oh well. So the thing is if you transmute every damn energy orb that you come across, it's going to give you the status immunity, but Arcane Blessing is also going to give you the health, which makes it pretty fucking good. Because then you can build up to that really, really high health really fucking quickly if you pay attention. Hey, fuck you guys, okay? Feel like a little crowd here. Just watch that fourth ability timer go down. Oh look, there's a fella. Hi, bud. And then you have a grenade. Hey, fourth ability's back. I'm just having a good old fucking time. The whole ass crowd here. You know, and we're using a dojo glaive for fuck's sake. I mean, look at all this universal ammo here. Throw that, pick up all these orbs. We slowly but surely gain that health. Yeah, I mean, if you're doing any kind of duration runs or anything, I mean, you can last a hot fucking minute with that much fucking health rocking. Hey, bud. I'm just saying, these fucking dojo weapons, man. Dojo and quest. Here. Fuck this Jade Xmas and everything it stands for. Yep. Fuck these guys. Fuck that guy. Yep. And see, because they're primed with their damage, they're easier to fucking kill, too, which makes it even funnier. That's the whole point. Like, you go up against Corpus, you can run Magnetic. You go up against Grenier, you can run Corrosive or Radiation. You know? Or if you go up against Corpus, you can run just pure fucking Toxin and just go right through their shields and hit them directly with their fucking health, because their armor's useless. So it's just like, I mean, you have so many options. And look, I'm sitting here taking damage. But see, this is the other funny part. If I'm not at max... Let's see if these fuckers can hurt me. Come on. Come on, here. Hold on, let's find this crowd. Come on, guys, shoot the shit out of me. Come on, do your job. I want them to hit my fucking health here. So we can see the health number. Arcane Grace is just triggering away. This is the annoyance by trying to show him off. Come on, guys, can enough of you attack me to hurt me, please? Like, adaptation's capped out on the slash damage you're trying to do to me. This can't seem to get it done, man. So stupid, isn't it? You know what? Fuck these goddamn shield drones. Seriously. Here, look, see, now I'm healed. It doesn't even matter. Oh, look, Malice.
Our operative is making progress. This will help our cause. When you need it, extraction is ready.
Bye, Malice. I mean, fuck you and everything you stand for. But yeah, and his second ability... Combos, if you actually should be, like, you know, fighting through a crowd or anything, and combos is a really good travel ability because you can actually use his 2 and or his 2 to travel, and then his 3 to hit enemies and kill the cooldown. So you can end up doing it 2 or 3 times depending on the crowd of enemies that you may have around you. I know, critical life support levels. I don't really give a shit. And you make all these cool little floating cold rocks. But that's Lavos. I mean, Lavos is simple. Don't worry, I will try not to make it so inclusive because I was trying to pick weapons and shit. I'll just stop that. Just going with whatever the fuck I have equipped. But Lavos is an interesting survivability frame. Not so clunky, especially when you make the comparison to Dante. The casting is identical. It's like, here, I gotta hit this, then cast this. Well, Dante's actually here. I gotta cast this, and then I gotta cast this. It's the same fucking mechanic. So I don't know why I keep doing this. Too much old thought here. Okay, so Loki. Loki has 2 interesting builds. The shards are all duration and then parkour velocity. Or parkour, yeah, I think it's parkour. Yeah, parkour velocity. And on the first build, has infested mobility for more parkour velocity. So basically, if you want to go really fucking fast with this frame, this is a serious way to do it. And it's built off of basically pure goddamn duration. So we're talking just over 380% duration, giving you an invisibility factor of 45.72 seconds. And that's before Multificiency ever even shows what the fuck it's doing. And this is just purely a loot, spy, sneak, you know, so a good capture setup. You know, you do rescues this way. Spies are really functional. It's probably like one spy I wouldn't recommend doing this one with, and that'd be Lua. It's just, I mean, yeah, you could wall latch all through that motherfucker if you wanted to, but Limbo's easier with that one. So there's this build. And then there's this build. Now, this is a slight change, okay? Way less ability strength because you don't really fucking need it. But we keep the duration, we still have our efficiency, but we add range to it because we're using Safeguard Switch. This is basically go into a mission, become completely fucking invincible, and basically tell everybody to go fuck themselves. And like Arcane Nullifier, honestly, because this was a completely different build ages ago, I literally just forgot to change that. That's funny, actually. I completely forgot to fucking change that shit. Here, you know what? Just to be silly, Molt Augmented. So, like, we start out with preparation because Loki wants to be invisible, or you at least want to have a shit ton of energy to start out with. Is it necessary? No. If you're going to put anything else in there, one more Forma, because this is a one Forma setup, guys. But if you're going to put anything else in here, do one more Forma and do Sure-Footed or Prime Sure-Footed, depending on what you have, or at least Fast Hands. Not Fast Hands. God, I always... Handspring. I always remember hand. So we're actually going to show the Safeguard Switch build. Now, you can still run invisibility. Like for the longest time, I actually used to run Hushed Invisibility even on this build, and it's completely unnecessary. And, you know, like this is nothing. Like you can run, you know, like Energy Siphon, or you can do, you know, Dreamer's Bond. If you here, fuck it, we'll do Dreamer's Bond one. It doesn't fucking matter. So yeah, we're just running the Incarnate Dread, Tennis High Crown, and Serrata. What I would normally run on this frame. But this is just unadulterated, pure goddamn survivability. At its best. And the only thing that causes a minute problem, depending on what weapons that you have, is the basis of one Acolyte, violence.
Your enemies have grown fierce.
So we're sitting at max energy. We're just ready to kick this baby off.
Life support has been cut off. They're trying
Like this,
to choke you
some of
out.
these I'm not even going to need to run their full
Sending
fucking
auxiliary
duration.
life support.
There, boom. Okay, we're invincible. Cool. See, so we have the Dread if we want to reuse it, or we can just stand here and just shoot people with pistols. And you have your little, icon up at the top, so when it's time to swap with somebody, you just swap with them. You can disarm everybody so they have to get up closer to you, make it even easier to kill them. You can do whatever subsume you want to on here, especially with the duration and not having the range tanked out. You can kind of do whatever the hell you want to with this. You can just stand here. I mean, like, it makes for a really fun time. Yeah, there, buddy. I didn't even need to do that yet, but fuck it, why not?
Get ready for
Look,
a
people have
capsule.
guns again. What the hell? That's rude. But anyway, this is how easy it is. Like, you can actually teleport, if you catch it at the perfect time, you can actually teleport. Oh, see, I was getting fucking silly. Wasn't paying attention. Hey, guys, you stop that for just a second, okay? Thanks.
I've delivered a life support capsule to the area.
There.
Activating it will buy you more time.
That's what you get when you start getting silly about shit. Not paying attention. Yeah. But, I mean, you can see, like, completely invincible unless you're not paying attention. It's this fucking build is just, here, I'm fucking immortal. As long as I switch with enemies, I'm immortal. And I can control what kind of weapons they're using against me. And people are like, oh, Loki needs a rework. Why? Like, why do you say that Loki needs a rework? I mean, like, he's fine. Not great, but he's fine. So Volt. Volt's an interesting one. Okay. So you can go a few directions with Volt, but truth be told, I went with a very specific direction. Not quite shield gating, but close. So we have energy field on spawn, energy field on spawn. We have shield capacity, armor. See why on that in a second, because you would not think that an armor shard on Volt would be anything necessary at all. And then duration. Okay, and it's because honestly we want to go fast. Now, specifically, this was actually done off of a goofy dare of how long can you make Volt survivable but still give him good duration for his speed. So it's trying to play both sides of the card on this. So the build, kind of silly. It's actually really kind of silly. But goddamn is it very functional, and it's a Shock Trooper build. So, we're going to use Shock Trooper and grant ourselves additional electric damage, which is a good time. We're using Arcane Battery instead of Prime Flow or Flow for our energy, which you would think having 45% efficiency would be a bad thing, but it's really kind of not. And then we're using Arcane Aegis, Fast Deflection, and Vigilante Vigor, and Eclipse to basically just not fucking die. And then we're using Endurance Drift for some parkour velocity, which really isn't necessary, but more for the energy max. Primary directions on there for that. And we're basically just going to use the speed, the Shock Trooper, and Eclipse. We're going to completely avoid the shield. You can use it if you want to, and it is beneficial to do so, but we're not even going to do that. And yes, the Apex tank, you see that? Yes, it's there. It is quite specifically a shield gate build. That's all it is. Okay? It's whatever. So, yeah. Yeah, there's that. Yeah. So, we're going to use the Archiplasmor, a crit-based Latum, and the Okina Prime. And the Okina Prime is actually why we're doing this, because it's a melee influence build. If I remember correctly. Yeah, melee influence. So, pure electricity, which is going to stack into electricity and magnetic damage. This is something. Okay? This is really something. And I'll tell you, no, I'm not running on all but like one of these frames. I'm not running the, I can't remember what the hell the name of the skin is. Gemini skin. I'm not running the Gemini skins because of the voices. I don't need voice lines with my frames. I've run this long in this game without having extra voices talking to me. Okay, so we're going to run Shock Trooper, and we're going to run Speed, and then we're just going to start meleeing the fuck out of every goddamn thing around us. Because this is going to get really fun really quick. Kind of a blur, isn't it? Yeah, so we've got 75% damage reduction, or something to that effect, if I remember correctly. 75% damage reduction with Eclipse. And then we have added electrical damage on top of having an electrical build melee. Yeah, like we're not dying today. Yeah, and by the way, the Sentinel on here is Axon. So we're getting an added shield buff from Taxon every time that little bastard comes in. So it'll help basically keep our overshields up. So we are just constantly not having problems. Now, just to show that this is not just some melee only setup. Buddy, look, okay. Oh, well, he died. That was kind of useless. There. Hey, guys. No, just don't exist anymore. How's that sound for you? Here, hold on. Charge that for later. I mean, as you see, I'm not even remotely close to running out of energy, even on a negative efficiency build. And I'm only using Arcane Battery and a fucking Shard for my energy. And then whatever the base armor is of Volt as he sits. I mean, obviously, the Tenarch Plasma is a very powerful weapon. It just is. And especially the fact that I have a rivet on this motherfucker. Now see, it broke. Shield's broke, but look at him charging, baby. Let's see, we're gonna go back to this. What is this asshole at? There he is. Here, hold on, buddy. Let me reload. Fuck you.
Additional life support has arrived.
See, I love the speed coupled with the Okina because, man, you really, really fuck some shit up. Especially once you have the Incarnate side of this thing charged, because good lord, man, these little ghost daggers just, I mean, they're just all over the place. It's hilariously fun to just plow through enemies like this. Hey, look. There's a life support drop up here. Oh no, an enemy. An adversary to kill. See, and violence. Violence is the one that just loves to make our day really, really fun. But you think you're funny. Bitch, you will die. Just saying. And I didn't use this crazy electric fucking Okina setup either. Good. I mean, like, the Latum's good, too, so it's like, I'm not really showing off anything amazing there. But electrocuting fucking violence and then just basically shooting a bitch with a gun is pretty fucking funny. She's like, hey, look at me go. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I hit the wrong button. Oh, look, Helminth food. I need to feed Helminth anyway. Oh, I just jumped into the floor where I was trying to go. Hey guys! Look, this hallway, everything it stands for. Oh, the next life support's going to be over here, so that's where the exit's going to be. Yeah, buddy. You fucking plow through these bitches like nothing.
To a successful
Okay, so
start.
out of beer, out of here.
When you are ready, go to extraction.
Let's hit that motherfucker again. I mean, 22 seconds of just pure get the fuck out of here with this guy, on top of putting good weapons on him and the ability of recouping your shields in an insanely crazy fashion, works really well. And it's not shield gating. Now, again, is this top tier stuff? No. But does it work really good? Yeah. But I've seen people complain about the survivability of Volt, and I do understand it. His kit as a whole really doesn't have any survivability to it. So you have to either mod for it, or you have to do some other crazy shit. Or at least kind of off-the-wall stuff. Now, Chroma. Chroma is such a problematic frame. And Chroma is such a powerful frame at the same time. But I'm going to just preface exactly what this is. This is playing off of the electricity and shields. Okay? So the shards are, we want some energy to begin with, twice over. We want shield capacity, and yes, some more fucking shield capacity. Now, getting over Spectral Scream because it is such a bullshit fucking ability. I hate it. Chroma needs help, man. Chroma needs Jesus from Pablo. Like, Pablo needs to just bring Jesus Christ himself and just kind of polish up Chroma into today's Warframe. Okay, because Chroma's got problems. I'm not even going to run a full run with him, but I can. It's not an issue. The build is not unheard of, but it's a little weird, right? So we're still running Aegis, we're running Vigilante Vigor and Primary Direction, yes. But it's specifically because of Elemental Ward. So you get some bonuses by running, the electricity side. For one, you get shield capacity buff, you get a status percentage increase, and you get a massive damage multiplier on this type of build. So running electricity is not a bad thing. I mean, like, is there other ways to do it? Sure. Yeah, 100%. You can run the heat side because Vex Armor actually wants you to take health damage to get more damage buffs. But since Overguard started becoming a problem for frames that required taking health damage for things, I mean, like Anaros and Anaros was having problems, and you know, Chroma was having problems, and I think Nidus, maybe, I could be incorrect about that. But like the heat side is pretty damn good. You know, the cold side, like if you want a whole fuck ton of armor, yeah, pretty damn good. You still get a multiplier, you know, damage multiplier, not near as good as the electric. And then you get status chance. But personally, I find that the electric is just really, really good for a base damage multiplier, and then working off of shields to begin with. So the build's pretty simple. It's, again, negative efficiency. I don't give a shit. Okay, I really don't. It's a fuck ton of shields, you know, so 1,561 shields working with Arcane Aegis. And then playing off of the attributes of Vex Armor. So you get a, you know, and you got to understand that I'm only working on the bottom two numbers, okay? Because I'm not doing, like, yes and no. So when, you know, he fortifies armor when his shields take damage, or if he kills an enemy with a melee weapon, okay? So, yeah, so the armor increase is kind of there, okay? It's just kind of a thing. The stuff on, well, okay, so no, it is the two bottom. I'm sorry, I take that back. Chroma's a kind of a confusing fuck, okay? He works. But I'm only getting a 46% increase, so I'm not utilizing Vex Armor in an insane way. If I wasn't doing a more shield-based build, and I was actually allowing for, you know, more health damage and all of that, which is really the preferable way to try to utilize Vex Armor, you would get those massive stats, but I'm only getting 46%. Okay, just saying. That's all I'm getting. Don't get it twisted. This is not a perfect build, okay? This is a survivable build. Because, again, that's one of those things that I see constantly is people saying, oh my god, Chroma has such potential, but I can't keep him alive. It's because he wants to take damage, which is so counter, it's such a counter from what this game wants. In today's Warframe, Chroma is like the opposite of the normal gameplay of this game. Everything's all about survivability and not taking damage and doing anything fucking bonkers like that, and Chroma's over here going, you know, basically like a drunk at a bar, just basically saying, hey, just punch me in the fucking face, get it over with.
Shut down all systems. Right? I'm sending life support capsules your way.
We hit a second ability, we get a shit ton of shields. Cast Condemn, we get an even more amount of shields. Yeah, one shot hit 3 fucking guys. I hear pink mist, you know, fuck them. They explode. You know, we hit Vex Armor, this counts as your ranged attacks. So, you know, so we get that little, you know, increase. Not the big boy increase for ranged kills. You know, but if we do melee kills, then we get that as well with the armor buff. If our shields take damage, which they are. And like, you know, you can see, you know, a 46% increase is no punk. It's not some top tier level of gameplay. It's really not. Gonna cast Vex Armor, do the melee. I mean, you know, 10 million right there. You know, and using the Strun as an example weapon, it's just kind of what I've been running on him. But, I mean, using the Strun is kind of unfair because it's just a really powerful goddamn weapon anyway. But it's like, here, you know what? My shields are running down here. Fuck you. Okay, they're maxed again. Cool. Love that. Fuck you. I want that 3,000 number. That 3,000 number makes me happy. 43 million. You know. I mean, you wouldn't think that 46% is crazy, but I mean, when you start popping, you know, 30, 40, 50, 70 million, 100 million fucking damage, you know, I mean, that starts to be kind of an enticing thing to see. And especially if all you have to do is basically just here, throw Condemn on a motherfucker, whack him with a fucking, you know, the Serrata again. I mean, we're not using Blade Prime or anything like that. Could be even better. Oh no, they damaged my shields again? Are you kidding me? Hey, guys, fuck you. Yeah, I mean, this is the basis of Chroma as far as this build to survive. Seriously, it's just like you can run hours like that. You really can. Is it as effective as running the true punch of Vex armor? Absolutely not, no. I mean, Chroma can do some big PP damage, but for the folks out there that have problems keeping Chroma alive to get to the point of building up to that insane big PP damage, yeah, it can be an issue. Corvex. So Corvex is an interesting one, right? Corvex is one that I see two complaints about. Oh man, he's hard as shit to fucking, keep alive, and he's energy hungry. It's two easy fixes for this, guys. Really is, and we're going to go over them. So we have parkour velocity, which is just kind of whatever. He's slow. We've got 2 health shards, and then we've got effectiveness on orbs, and we have maximum energy filled on spawn. So we got three of the 5 different types of amber function here. So the energy hungry part is Nourish. Nourish and Zenric using Wellspring. The build is very simple, and this is, again, run whatever fucking weapons you want to on here, okay? So, running Wrecking Wall. This is one thing that actually helps immensely with Corvex by stripping armor. So, this is, immediate 50% armor strip. Well, guess what? No, we're at 100% because we have 276% ability strength, and it doesn't even need to be that high. Now, the funny thing is you'll see, yes, this is an Umbral set, but I'm actually running a unranked Umbral Vitality, so I'm not really getting much of a buff. I'm going more of the stack for the ability strength and the armor than I give a shit about anything else. Much like Lavos, I'm doing health and armor tanking. And do I need to run Arcane Grace? No. I can actually just run Arcane Blessing. I've tested both. They work fine. Do I need a bunch of ability range? No. All I need is Cunning Drift. That's more than enough. Do I need, range? Do I need a bunch of duration? No, not at all. Because, I'm not using his goofy pillars. I'm using his containment wall. I'm using Disometric Guard for, status resistance. And then Crucible Blast to basically be the microwave popcorn maker on enemies. That's just what he does. This build, again, based very much off of like I do with Lavos. That's kind of how I approached him because he's very high armor, and you build into that and you get something very funny. And yes, it's the Kalashnikov Prime because that's, an AK-47 and yeah. But Corvex is another one. I'm not even going to run a full fucking mission on this because there's no need. You're going to see the function very quickly. If you get super spammy, can you have problems with energy with just about any build? Yes. But you could actually supplant the parkour velocity and supplant the effectiveness of energy orbs, and actually just put 2 violet shards on him and do that for an equilibrium effect, and then run, like you see above me, the Death Cube Prime with the energy generator, and yeah, you're not going to have a problem at all. Really not. Well, energy generator coupled with synth deconstruct. You just, I don't even know why I'm... I do that, that's a lot better. I'll get energy really quick. Oh, baby. Max my energy up. Fuck it. Doesn't matter. Cool. Let's kill stuff.
They have just shut down all systems. I'm sending life support capsules your way.
Here, you know what? Oh, of course I set that damn thing off. Yeah. I'm that one dickhead that does that, right? See, so we take away their armor, and then we just turn them into popcorn makers. Turn them into popcorn. It's a good time. And see, I'm not even running his Disometric Guard yet, which is actually what I find to be, next to the uselessness of his first ability, at least for this build. And you gotta understand, when I say, if I say something is useless, it's solely based on, the fact of the way I have my frame built, it's useless as hell. Hey, you shouldn't have armor. Go forth and fuck yourself. Oh, goody. Free food. So, like, these guys are here, they're gonna die. Because when one explodes, it just spreads to the next, man. It's like spreading radiation cooties to people. So, see? I'm gonna fuck them up, and then we're just gonna start hitting one, and they just start chain reaction exploding like Chernobyl just hit them. Hey. Look here, buddy, okay? I think it's time for you to die. See, he did. No problem. Oh, pardon me while I reload.
The
Here,
life
fuck
support
you.
capsule to the area. Activating it will
See, I mean, you can see running Nourish absolutely just alleviates the problem. And yeah, I mean, do the pillars have function? Sure. Of course they do. I'm not going to say they don't. I think everything on a frame has some level of function if you're willing to try to build to it. Kome is probably the one exception I would put to that. And I don't... Kome is an interesting one, man. Is that a stalker, or is that the actual fucking acolyte? Fuck that stalker. I don't even want to... Fuck him. Bitch, I said abort. Wow, okay, I guess I can't abort with the stalker trying to attack me. Actually, I didn't realize that. I've never seen that before. Go ahead, be my reckoning, big guy.
get ready for a capsule.
Where you at, reckoning? I see you right there, Cloud Boy. Bye. Oh, look, I got a dread blueprint. Like I give two fucks. Yeah, I mean, like, it's just one of those, like, it's hard to argue if something works, right? Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Would I say that, like, this is the ideal setup to try to do in-game style gameplay of level cap? Fuck no. Hell no, you probably fucking die. But it works. Works for this. Running missions on the Steel Path, farming Steel Essence, doing Steel Path incursions, things like that. These are what these builds are meant for, okay? Yeah, I know, mission failed. I'm losing progress here, man. I have somebody quit missions. It's fucking funny. So yeah, so the next one, Oberon. Oberon's an interesting one, man. Oberon's interesting as hell because Oberon, like Chroma, is living in the life of yesteryear. Okay, it really is. Okay, so we got shield capacity. You're gonna see why. Strength, and strength. Yeah, because guess what? We're doing basically just like we did with Volt. Within reason. Gotcha! No, we're not. We just want more shields. Because we're using Condemn, so we're just going to go for a lot of shields. We're going to go for energy usage, because if you do need to use Renewal, this really does help with there. Multificiency for more duration. Arcane Blessing to health tank out. Couple that with, running Condemn. And you'll see me run Condemn or Pillage quite a bit. Condemn I find to be very functional to basically lock enemies down in place, especially if I'm using, Incarnate weapons, because I'm a piss poor headshot guy. So that's just a preferential thing for me. There's many ways, or at least there's a few ways to build, overshields. So don't just take Condemn as being the only way to do it. It's just my preferential way. Keeping enemies static is functional. Now, there's a funny point to this, and you'll look at this and be like, well, why is it only a rank 9? Because you need 230, it's either 230 or it's flat at 235 to get a 360 degree angle. I don't know why and the fuck they made you build to such a specification to this. But this is actually kind of a big survivability thing, because the moment they walk onto, hollowed ground, they get get radiation damage, get radiation procced, and they automatically start fighting each other rather than just completely solely focusing on you. Condemn is obvious for the shields. Renewal is basically, here, I need to heal myself. If you leave it running, good. Okay, good time. Works just fine. But you can just hit it, heal yourself, and turn it the fuck back off. And then, of course, Reckoning is here. I'm going to hit you with impact and radiation damage. I'm going to strip your fucking armor because of the amount of ability strength that I have on here. And I do have a chance for, health orb drops from this, which is how Arcane Blessing actually comes more into play off of this. It's a pretty simple setup, guys. Oh, crap. And it's whatever weapons you want to use. Again, pretty much any setup, it's like, here, this weapon works great for me, so I'm going to do that. And yeah, I could go anywhere. I like the basis of Corrupted because Corrupted have their own damage values, they have their own armor scaling, and you get all three factions. So not one specific damage is going to outshine the other. So you can't just go in with magnetic, or you can't just go in with corrosive. Viral and heat and slash are kind of the universal lubricants. Here, fuck this. I don't know why I just did that. I'm on the orb one. I'm stupid. Doesn't matter. I dropped it. We're gonna fucking absorb it for a second. Baby. One more. Give me one more. Make me happy. We'll just hit the orb for the rest. That works out. Alright, let's do this, and then let's do this, and then let's just go confuse people and fuck their day up, right?
They're trying to choke you out. Hold on. I'm sending auxiliary life support.
So we're gonna hit right here. Actually, hold on. Which room is it? Oh, it's this room. Perfect. Perfection. Guys, hello? Anybody want to play? Here, hi. How you doing? There. See, so now we've got our cool little grass pad thing. Life is good. Reckoning here. Fuck you. Nobody needs armor. We'll just come over here and kill everything. And the best part is, you gotta understand, the other thing is a frame like Oberon is actually at a bit of a deficit right from the beginning with this, solely on the basis that the corrupted are actually, they have a damage reduction to radiation damage. It's not that the rad procs will affect them differently, but they don't get debuffed by radiation in the same way.
Life support on the way.
Okay, so we're gonna get some health orbs from Fuckstick over here. Hey, guys, you stop that place, okay? Hey, fuck this. You guys all have armor. Get fucked. And now they don't. Well, one guy did for some silly reason. Silly, silly man. Got that.
I delivered a life support capsule to the area. Activating it will buy
Hey,
you more
excuse
time.
me. You stop that, okay? How about you go forth and frick your surf? Can you just reload already? Yay, baby! I mean, this is Oberon. It's this easy. You start taking shield damage, just hit them with Condemn. Give yourself some shields. The funny thing is that it wasn't even Haro that gave me the idea for Condemn, it was actually Zaku. The first time I ever put Condemn on a frame was Zaku, and so, like, the frames that have survivability deficits are frames that I have just leaned into using Condemn with, because it's fucking hilarious. Oh, I ran out of ammo. How about you go forth and fuck yourself? How are you doing? Hey, bud. I don't like you having armor. You stop that.
Life
Stop.
support incoming.
Yeah, I mean, that's the Oberon play. It's simple. I mean, you know, like, it doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to work, right? I know, mission failed. I don't even give a shit. I don't care. So yeah, but that's Oberon, you know? Go back to Shakespeare for some Oberon and Titania. Vauban. Now, no need to play Vauban. Okay, like, this is going to be pretty goddamn self-explanatory. So, we're going for shield capacity, equilibrium effect, and then ability strength and ability strength. And here is why. We need a very specific ability strength number. Okay, so again, as we've seen in other builds, Arcane Aegis, Vigilante Vigor, Fast Deflection, Wunderbar, and then obviously every time you cast an Augur mod, that obviously helps as well, you know, by its secondary function. So there is a bit of an ability strength requirement here, okay? So like, but this is a base frame build, and it's a nourish build, okay? So this is basically just here. You know what? I'm going to create a vortex, pull everything into this motherfucker, and just shoot it while it's in there. And then drop some flechette orbs at the base of that son of a bitch just to puncture everybody to death. It's like death by 1,000 thumbtacks. You want some really ridiculous accuracy? Just go into a mission and do this. You'll end up with like 118,000 accuracy in one mission. It's fucking hilarious. But this is a very ridiculously survivable build. And part of this comes down to Nourish as far as energy economy. Part of it is the Equilibrium Shard, and the other part is the Tenet Galaxian. Those three things make it to where Vauban is quite functional. Okay? Now, I mean, like, there's other ways for, like, energy economy that you can get around it. You can do, like, you know, a Spectre Siphon build. That's not the one. Why in the hell did I have two of those? Yeah, you can do a Spectre Siphon build. Okay, a little bit different this way. It's a little bit more on the health tanking side of things, but you quite literally never run out of energy. And truthfully, like, the range is a little bit more of a problem, but it's actually not. 175 is still a pretty healthy range, because I mean, you figure on the Bastille Vortex, we're talking 17.5 meters. You're pulling enemies in from 17.5 meters, to where, see, I don't understand what the hell, why there's literally, oh, it was subsumes. That's what it was. Yeah, that's what it was. I was testing, that's right. I was testing Chroma's ability. Yeah. Nourish was better. Just saying. And again, I'm running R-Tax on here for the shield boost as well, on top of the 2 recharge plus more shields. This is just a very functional way to go into the steel path and just control an area. So like if you're doing a survival specifically, or if you're doing like a mobile defense, you can literally just put the, you know, the Vortex Bastille right, you know, somewhere near the mobile defense and just pull all the targets in and just basically guard the mobile defense target. You can do it with defense. It's a little more tricky because when the Eximus starts showing up, depending on how long you're running it, it can get a little hairy that way because you're kind of a static target at that point, and your defense target is obviously a very static target. But this is a very, very survivable build. You guys just saw it on me running with Volt. Just figure less melee, more ability. That's the only difference. So, functions very much the same way. Very survivable. Gotta tell you. Limbo, another one I'm not going to do gameplay on because you will go to fucking sleep. Okay, the shards are literally casting speed. You can see that I have silence on him instead of banish because that is a far more better way to survive with Limbo. Everything about Limbo is duration and range. Okay? Everything about this is duration and range. Okay, efficiency is not such a huge deal, but it is helpful. Obviously not necessary, and this is a 0 Forma setup. Okay, this is just a, you know, a potato and an Exilis adapter. That's it. You know, Arcane Energize, because of his energy pool, isn't even insanely necessary. Arcane Grace really won't help you because it's a squish build. You can use something like Arcane Steadfast if you want to, or any other thing. The thing with Limbo is that Limbo got very, very hurt by the Eximus rework a few years ago, and ever since he's just been kind of sitting in the background. He's very functional. He's a great looting frame. He's like the perfect frame for the Lua Spy. He's great for cracking the defend a defensive target without letting it take damage. Just go to one of the infested defenses on fucking Eris and just make sure that, you know, none of the Eximus actually do any damage. You know, as long as you have silence, they can't cast abilities. So they actually have to physically contact the defensive target. Which, as long as you're using your eyeballs and paying attention to the map, you'll see if any enemy is coming inside of your gigantic cataclysm bubble. And you'll crack the Riven very easily. Those are my 3 particular uses, but he is functional for interceptions. He's functional for excavations. But again, he can be a little intrusive on anything other than solo play. Like, Limbo's a great solo play frame to get around with a few things. Now, this is going to be a different monster, because I will scream to the top of my lungs that Nezha or Revenant are far better than Rhino. But this is a different monster, okay? This is not what you're going to think. Okay, it's really not. So we're going with armor, max filled spawn, just because I'm impatient. I'm an immediate gratification guy. Armor, and then some more armor. And then we're doing Nourish as the subsume. Okay, now the build. The build is simply 2 Forma and an Exilis adapter. There's a couple of things in here that you just don't fucking need, okay? But a lot of people go with an Ironclad charge build. And yes, I do have, as you see, a charge build that works. This works just as well, though, because no matter what the hell you do, there will always be trash mobs on the fucking map, okay? There just will. And that is what this focuses on. It's great to have 20 million fucking, 20 million iron skin. That's awesome. It's great to have 1 million or 2 million or whatever, however, because like, just like Nezha's warding Halo, okay, iron skin has it's got more of a hidden multiplier, okay? But Iron Skin does have an 8 damage multiplier. So whatever damage you're taking whenever you cast Iron Skin, it increases by absorbing that damage and turning it into Overguard, okay? Even though it doesn't say it, it does do it. So instead of going with, I'm going for tens of millions of Overguard, I'm just going to use Stomp. Because there's always going to be trash mobs around. Okay? So you basically heal your Overguard as long as you don't let your Overguard break. And even if you do, just cast Iron Skin again. Especially if you're getting a fuck shot out of you, it's actually kind of beneficial to let that happen sometimes. But basically you Stomp, and this motherfucker says, here. It says restoration of 4%. I'm going to tell you right now. I mean, like, I've let that shit get down to 3/4 of the way down, and yeah, you know, it's restoration of 4 per enemy that is affected by Stomp. I have 145, you know, percent ability range. So my radius is 36.25 meters. That's a pretty good fucking area of effect, okay? Like, in a lot of ways, you normally wouldn't give two shits about building for range on Rhino. And duration on here is quite simply just for Nourish and for Roar. Okay, because it's 2 sets of damage output. And then we're using Arcane Battery, hence the armor shards, to, we're going to go with Amar's Hatred and then Carnus Carapace, because I'm sure people are looking at that going, what the fuck are those on there for? Well, get a little bit of ability strength, nothing wrong with that, plus armor, and then you get a little bit of health and then armor. Imagine that. All of that plays into using Arcane Battery for our energy source. And again, you would think this would be crap, but there's no channeled abilities on here. And Nourish, coupled with coupled with Zenric, absolutely does the fucking job. And again, this isn't going to be some full, 5-minute mission, because I know this video is going to be long. But you know what? It's my birthday, and I'll play if I want to. Just saying. It's the truth. Crazy thing is for these longer videos, I literally have to start posting the day before, because smaller channels on YouTube kind of get like data lag down, so YouTube doesn't like to give us the same upload speed as some of the big boy streamers. Okay, so we are at our max energy. Let's just go beat people up. And yeah, I'm running the Prisma Lens, and what am I running? The Incarnate Furus, and then the Prisma Scana. Yeah, that's right.
I'm sending auxiliary life support.
We're just going to start with this. Come on, give me visibility. So, you can see it's taking damage. Boom. Healed. Kind of like having a televangelist around you, isn't it? You're healed. I mean, look at these motherfuckers are floating all this way away. I mean, that kind of range is good, man. So it's like, cool, man, the Overguard's getting fucked up. I really don't give a shit. Because the range that I have is just absolutely going to fuck shit up. Boom, see? Got my 14,000 back. The only problem with this kind of setup, like, you could do an Ironclad Charge reinforcing Stomp build. You can couple them together and really put some stank on some shit, okay? What are you doing up there? Stop that. I did not think I was going to hit that guy in the air, I'm going to be honest. But yeah, the problem with Overguard is that Overguard chips away very, very quickly. So even running the thought of doing, the Ironclad Charge coupled with reinforcing Stomp is actually not bad at all.
Activating it will buy you more time.
See, look, I'm taking damage. Oh no. No, I'm not. As you see, I'm in no danger whatsoever of running out of energy. I mean, like, I could just kind of do my thing. And yeah, I mean, like, the higher the level of the enemies, you would think that this would be bad. But Rhino does scale very much like Nezha. In the fact that, his Iron Skin amount is going to go up because he's going to be absorbing damage that you're taking when you cast it. I mean, that's Rhino. I just preferably like Nezha over Rhino. Because Nezha has other functional things that are far more beneficial to the game of today. It's not that Rhino's bad, not at all. It's just if you put Rhino head to head with Nezha, it's almost apples and oranges. It's like, I don't know, it's like a tangerine and an orange. Close, but not the same. So Valkyr is another kind of interesting one here. Okay. And it's got some focus to some interesting shit here, but we're going for casting speed, effectiveness on energy orbs, and then health. Now, why in the fuck would I do this? Okay. The health is the obvious one because this is a shield gate build, damn near to the core. Damn near. All the other shards are actually based off of the Hysteria build that I have. So if you want to run around like a crazed out fucking Wolverine and just kick roar on, you can do this, okay? You absolutely can. 100% you can just literally click the fourth fucking ability on, hit roar, click the fourth ability on, and just fuck shit up. And technically you don't have to just, do it in that order. You can just equip a primary, hit roar, and then do it. But that kind of leaves Warcry and Paralysis just out there in limbo land. The other problem is that Ripline is just a really gimmicky, stupid ability. So it's just kind of dumb. But this build works, okay? This build 100% works. But if you want to go to a slightly different level of what the hell, you can do that. A little bit of health, Arcane Blessing to help boost that up even more. And yes, you can go even further to use Arcane Aegis and use Arcane Barrier at the same fucking time. You can. Like, we'll show it. I mean, here, hold on. Fucking, yeah, see, here. You know what? We're going to take Death Cube off. Because this is the thing I was meaning to do, was put Taxon on there. I forgot. Yes, I did. That's not what I was trying to do. Anyway. So this build is actually more based around Nourish, Warcry, and Paralysis. And Paralysis is really just a stun ability. That's all it is. It's just a knockback damage multiplier ability. It's like, I mean, yeah, it's an impact damage multiplier on top of that. So, let's be real. So, but this is about as shield gate gets, okay? Within reason, but we're, getting some energy here, plus some parkour velocity, because hey, why not? I mean, it's a good time. The rest of the build is pretty obvious. Catalyzing shield for the shield gate side of it, Brave for Spite for the not so much shield gate, returning our shields, and then really returning our shields, and then trying to not lose our shields. It's a really counteractive playstyle, and it all comes down to a lot of ability casting. Okay, it really does. And early on, especially if you're not running Arcane Blessing, there's a very high movement. It really is. It's like, here, hold on. Let's do this. Okay, so there's a 6% chance on shield damage to instantly restore all shields, where there's a 3% chance for 30% shield recharge for 12 seconds. The better of the two is truthfully Arcane Aegis, in my opinion. You say whatever you want to about that. Everybody's opinion is allowed. I don't really give a shit. But I am going to keep Blessing just because that's what I have been running, so I don't want to completely change up that scale, but Barrier is an interesting one to throw in there as well. This is just if the shields break, you don't have to be quite so goddamn mobile if you don't want to be. But we're using the Nadaruk, the Incarnate Atomos, and the Okina Prime, and again, we're going to play it much like Volt, but in a slightly different way of things. Because we're going to be using Warcry to actually increase ourselves into stupidity instead of just his short burst, duration speed buff. General idea is the same. It's ability casting. It is, and with Nourish, you're not locked to the timer. So if, you need to cast abilities, you just hit Nourish. It's fine. See, I'm really impatient on this. I don't give a fuck. You can tell I don't care about wasting shit. I really don't. Wunderbar, done. 2 pulses, good to go. Hey, look at me go. Yay. Really, bitch? It's got very button happy there.
They have just shut down all systems. I'm sending life support capsules your way.
It's like if you just want to build up your overshields, you can. You can absolutely do it with just... Oh my god. Thank you. That's what I was trying to do. It's like if you just want to sit here like a total asshole. But with the shield gate build, it doesn't really help because you're running almost negative shields. You're running very, very low shields. So you're not trying to build up your shields into anything crazy. You know what? Fuck you. Alright? I don't give a shit about you. Die. Very much, you know, high mobility until you start collecting health orbs. Oh look, Hellman food yet again.
Life support on the way.
So with Brief First Bite, basically you cast an ability, and some of that's converted into shields, which is fine. Gives you a little bit more of a shield pool to work with, albeit it's negated down to shit. Quite simply because you're actually reducing it like you used to do with Dragon Key, and now you're doing it with catalyzing shields.
I've delivered a life support capsule to the
I see you. Fuck off.
Activating it will buy you more time.
And yes, shield gate, highly survivable. You know, and that's one thing about shield gating, is that shield gating is like basically kind of the end game survivability method for a lot of different frames. Shield gating or basic ability function that causes survivability. Something like Nej's Warding Halo, for example, or Revenant's Mesmer Skin, or anything of the sort. But as you see, my health is slowly climbing, which gives just that much more survivability if the shields do break. Oh look, I'm at 700 and change. Whoop-de-fucking-do. The beauty about this setup is that this setup is not affected by, like, with your ability to survive, solely based off of one ability that gives you invincibility. And that is actually the entire point, but that's also why I say, like, the Hysteria build is completely usable. Where's that bitch at? Missed him. There's a couple Maximus here. There's this motherfucker. God, I suck. Look, Miles died before his little warble could fuck my day up. 10 shades over it, man. Like, I wasn't even running Warcry there, for Christ's sake. Still took him down. Yeah, very survivable like this. Hey guys, how you doing? Melee the fuck out of your stupid ass. But it's just kind of a goofy, different way to play Valkyr. It's not so reliant on a channeled ability that gives you, yes, invincibility, which is great. Why am I running away so far? Hey, fuck off. Oh, you know what? It'd really help if I do my job. A lot quicker if you actually, you know, like, use it. Hey, that is enough out of you, cocksucker.
Additional life support has arrived.
But see, I can stand to take health damage at this point. Obviously, you don't want to take a beating, but I don't have to be, like, running around like a crazy person, even if I do. I just heal myself that way, and we're fine. Just jump into my operator and use the thing. Let's go kick shit out of this bitch, because she is shooting me and trying to take my health.
Our operative is
Cool, I
making
can leave.
progress.
Yay.
This will help our cause.
When they say, oh,
When you're
yummy,
ready,
dinner.
Go to extraction.
Bro, get out of the fucking doorway, you ass. I'm just trying to leave. Oh, I thought I saw helmet food. My bad. And yeah, some people will look at this and be like, bro, why the fuck would you do this when you just have hysteria? I get it. I really do. The problem is that if you only build towards hysteria and you run into a nullifier, that's pretty easily stopped because you just recast hysteria once you're outside of the nullifier bubble. Violence, on the other hand, you have to get well outside of the range of silence to be able to turn that shit back on, which leaves you in the path of a fuck ton of bullets and enemy attacks while you're trying to do so. This gives the other option of, well, I don't have to look like a crazed out fucking Wolverine, but I still have a very functional frame to do so. And in base Excal, guess what? No need to really play this, aside from, I think it's funny that I really went with more like a Deadpool look, because this is actually the original colors that I ran, and this is the only one, this is the only frame that I actually run the Gemini skin on. Just so you're aware. Guess what? Arcane Aegis. Or no. Forgot. No, this was just a Condemn build. This is just the base Condemn build. Went with a little bit more energy. Power Drift on here, which honestly I used to run one of his augment mods on here, which is why that's polarized to a Xeneric, so I just figured throw Power Drift in that spot instead of going for a negative. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty straightforward setup. Arcane Blessing for health tanking, and then Condemn for shield tanking, ability strength to just make his abilities better. I mean, this is as straightforward as it gets. Funny part is I'm running, the AX52, I'm running a Latum with the old school skin on it, and then I'm running the Sun and Moon on him for the whole Deadpool look, but I've also got a Riven for the Sun and Moon, so they're not quite as shit. But I mean, as you've just seen me do, basically cast Condemn, you have a fuck ton of shields, and an Arcane Blessing, you figure it's 1,200 more health once you collect, once you get enough health orbs. So that's, 2,051 health. And the shield caps out at like 2,095. So, because I think the Condemn cap is also at like 1,200 or 1,000 or something like that. But yeah, like this is, I mean, like I can run for a minute or so if I'm well over an hour at this point, so I'm not gonna, but it's basically just as you've seen before. It's basically here, I'm just gonna shield and health tank and get fucked and just basically kill everybody as you go. And if my shields start to go low, throw Condemn at them again. It's good time. Where something like Condemn doesn't work so well is enemies with Overguard. That's one of the complaints that people have about Condemn, is that it doesn't give you shields for any overguarded enemies. So if you've got something like, one of the infested bastards that gives you overshields, an ancient protector or whatever the hell it is, the ancient healer, I think it's the ancient protector, but that's the one that gives all enemies, overguard. Well, all of a sudden Condemn doesn't work, and then you're sitting there with your thumb in your ass going, oh fuck, this isn't good at all. So, but yeah, that's where something like Pillage is actually more beneficial. Truth be told, because Pillage will just pillage defenses from whatever, doesn't matter. To where Condemn requires an enemy that can be CC'd. That's the difference. So use accordingly. I mean, you can use, Chroma's second ability if you want to. Where is Mr. Chroma? There he is. What is that motherfucker? You can use Elemental Ward, set your color, and give yourself a shield buff. You need some serious fucking ability strength to do it. But you could do it. But truthfully, something like Pillage or something like Condemn with just some range. Pillage is good if you're not worried about it, if you don't want to have to be concerned with CC stuff. Condemn is good if you just don't give a shit. Okay? It is line of sight, though. Very much line of sight. But yeah, no, I mean, Excal, basically that build, this whole setup right here, and like the shards are, shield capacity, and then fill it spawn, which every time you see me using a shard that says fill it spawn, those are the wild card shards, okay? Everything, the other three are based solely around what abilities I'm using and so on and so forth. But that's my birthday video. That is some, potentially problematic frames. And see, this is proof positive that there are people that do the normal tier list. I just posted a tier list earlier this week showing, you know, the frames that did have the favorite mark. And as you can see, I've changed that. And there's no need for that. There are people that swear that there are shitty frames in this game and that they're just not worth playing and so on and so forth. Every single frame in this game is playable. So don't ever think that you have to follow the meta of what everybody else is doing. Because this top 11 right here, you know, aside from Eidolon hunts, Volt used to be a frame that I only ever used for two things. I used it for Eidolon hunts and Plague Star. That was it. That was all, man. And the Plague Star point, honestly, as silly as it fucking sounds, I was basically using it for the speed boost on the fucking stupid the enemy thing that you have to capture. I can't think of the word. Yeah, the enemy drone. Just to speed buff that bastard to the giant boil. That's it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just go watch a Plague Star video. You know, and yeah, I have obliged other people with builds as far as stuff. And like, you know, yeah, like Banshee's a problematic frame. The only issue and why Banshee isn't in this list is because I sacrificed some of her Crimson Shards for, I think it was Sight. So I need to put Crimson Shards back on her to get her where it is. But like, I can show you Banshee really quick just to finish it off, because I had Crimson Shards on here. Excuse me. And again, you can see Condemn. You can use Pillage if you want to. I had it on here for ability duration, if I remember correctly. Let me think. No, it was for ability strength. I had 3 strength shards on here. But yeah, again, same exact fucking setup. Okay? Literally same goddamn setup. This is an armor strip setup, using Condemn for overshields, using Arcane Blessing for health tanking, and just basically playing around that fact with using the kit as it is with an augment for, guess what, fucking armor stripping. Which, as the kit sits right now, even with, you know, strength shards, it's still at 100% armor strip, so I could run it as is. You know, and yes, you can do a Gloomshy build as well. It's relatively the same. Like, pretty much the damn same. But you're using Gloom instead. It works. Just, this build requires constant killing of enemies until you get Arcane Blessing completely maxed up. It's the only difference. But yeah, Gloomshy build's funny as hell. And you don't even need Sonic Fracture for it. It's just a beneficial thing to run. That way enemies are just far weaker to fuck with. But it's really, I will say, as far as a Gloomshy build goes, the one funny thing about a Gloomshy build is, like when Acolytes show up, because all the Acolytes but Violins are completely susceptible to Gloom. And so when you slow an enemy down by 69%, they're moving at the speed of fucking smell in comparison to their usual fast-paced movement. So it's a good time. But for the people who haven't farmed Savagoth yet, you know, because Void Storms are annoying as fuck, and have been lucky enough to get Harrow, you know, because Harrow's component comes through the quest line and everything, you know, and then a few missions, and Harrow's become far easier to farm. You know, getting Condemn isn't nearly as hard. Ow, my elbow popped. Ouchies. But yeah, I mean, like, Banshee's another one of those, you know, has major survivability problems, and with one Subsume and one Arcane, you pretty much nullify that particular problem. Again, is it endgame? No. But is it functional for base steel path? Yes. And all this is guess what? Energy field on spawn, energy field on spawn, and then there's normally 3 crimsons for ability strength. That's it. That's it. That's all. I mean, it's just that simple. So, I mean, yeah, could I put her in this list? Sure. You know, bonk. She's up there too. You know, but that tells you there's all these other good ass frames. Like Equinox is another one of those kind of trippy ones that people are really confused by. And yes, I've got a very, very easily get your ass killed build that nukes an entire fucking room doing so, which I have shown. You know, Atlas is the one note. We've got our Flying Pregnant frame. Mace is the aimbot. We've got a couple of slam builders. You know, a couple of just pure health tanks. You know, I mean, there's so many ways to build Gara. You know, I've got my silly ass Grineer killer, you know, Lavos. I've got this god-awful fucking frame down here in the bottom, Kome, because I don't like her. Avara. Oh, excuse me. Avara is another one of those frames that, God, you can build Avara to nuke areas. You can build Avara solely around her sneaking function. You can use her as an Archon killer. The thing that I do not like about Avara is her pacing. Avara is very, very much based around her invisibility function. Not solely, but very much based around her ability function. And her invisibility function. And that invisibility function limits your movement very much. So you have to do some extra shit just to get her to move the way you want her to without breaking your damn invisibility. So, you know, but like Necros, surprisingly very good frame. Baruch, I think, is one of the best solo play frames out there for just exterminates, for, you know, crossfire missions, sabotages, survivals. I mean, Baruch is unbelievably powerful. You know, Dagoth, very powerful. All these other frames are very, very powerful. But when you get down to the nitty gritty of it, like, you know, what are some of the frames that you'll see people call bad frames? I mean, this list is in there. You know, some people are homers to the old school, and that's fine. Then again, some people look at it and they're like, oh my fucking God, this frame is such dog shit. Just saying, I mean, like, there's easy ways to get around potential problems of frames and still make them very, very playable. Thank fuck for Helmet. Thank fuck for Archon shards, because, man, that makes so many, you know, substandard kits into such playable setups. So I'm going to stop chewing on your ear at this point. Thank y'all very much for yet again another year of checking out my channel. You know, I don't network this channel at all. I don't share links anywhere anymore. I just post stuff, and if you guys like it, then the channel will grow as it's supposed to, or as, you know, as naturally as it will. But I'm not out this for I'm not in this for any kind of notoriety. I don't, you know, obviously make any money from doing this stuff. I just have fun doing this. And when I come across silly shit that can make somebody's play experience better, or at least easier, you know, because we all evolve. Some players are happy to stay at just normal steel path play. Some players want to go to level cap. You want to go to level cap, you watch Gaz, you watch Nightmare. You know, there are plenty of level cap players out there that can absolutely just go, here's the build for you. And they work. And that's that evolution. I'm more of one of those mid-tier steel path players to where I can absolutely just wreck the shit out of anything I fucking play against, but I just don't have the patience to really go run for hours upon hours. And I know it's only a couple of hours, I think, or an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes to really get to level cap if you're doing Void Cascade. But I just don't have the patience to really go and fuck about with level cap, because at that point, I'm just sitting here like, you know, I just lifted my truck to 14 foot at the roof. You know, how just saying. Anyway, folks, I do want to thank you very much for watching this video. As always, we'll catch you in the next one, all right?